In honor of Halloween on October 31st, let's rank the 31 best Halloween episodes of TV shows. At 31, I have SNL. Now, for my research, SNL has never had a beginning to end complete episode devoted to Halloween, but you know what they do have? David S. Pumpkin. That's right, the Tom Hanks classic skit, because of just this small part of an overall really good episode, goes at number 31. At number 30, I have an episode of Guy's Grocery Games. Now, for this Triple G episode, they brought in four people that loved Halloween and they would bowl to figure out which kind of ingredients they had to use, and they were all Halloween themed. It could have been better. The presentations and food did not seem to be the best quality for a Triple G episode, but because of the theme and how well it executed being a Halloween episode, I'm going to give it number 30. For number 29, I have season 2, episode 3 of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now, this episode, it's borderline Halloween episode. It definitely takes place during the right time, and it has enough themes for me to really consider it, especially with Larry's house getting egged. That just screams Halloween. And it was a very funny episode, so it goes here at 29. And number 28 is an episode that I really liked as a kid. It's iCarly's Halloween episode, where they heard rumors about this scary spot in the apartment building that Carly and Freddie lived in, and so they went to explore it, and it was scary and spooky, and Spencer was hiding in this giant pumpkin because he was giving away horrible gifts for Halloween. So, for nostalgia, it goes much higher, but for a complete Halloween episode, it'll stay here at 28. At number 27, I have That 70s Show episode, Too Old to Trick or Treat, Too Young to Die. And the cast is getting with this theme that they can't go out and do the things that they normally would, but they can't go out partying very much yet. So they're stuck in this in-between phase where they really don't know what to do. And it's a very funny episode. It has enough Halloween themes and jokes to it that it goes here at 27. Very respectable. And number 26 is Big Time Rush's Halloween episode. There is a haunting at the Palmwoods, and it gets very scary. They go through security cameras, and it's very dark, and there are a lot of spooks everywhere. It's a pretty darn good Nickelodeon Halloween episode. At number 25, I have season 25, episode 7 of Dance with the Stars. Now, Dance with the Stars has had many different Halloween weeks in its time, but this one in particular is just spectacular. It's highlighted by two amazing dances. First off is Frankie and Whitney's Contemporary. This is spooky and frightening, and it is just brilliant choreography by Whitney. And then there's Jordan and Lindsay's Paso Doble, their werewolf-themed Paso Doble, where it's not exactly the music that you would typically associate with a Paso Doble, but it works so much. So for that reason, it is going here at 25. At number 24, I have BoJack Horseman's Halloween episode. This is an interesting one because it flip-flops back and forth between time periods, between 4 different time periods. And it's so funny seeing a new girlfriend every single year. And that BoJack, at the beginning, never even wanted to throw a Halloween party. But by the end, he still didn't want to. At number 23, I have season 2, episode 12 of Fairly Odd Parents, Scary Odd Parents. In this episode, we see one of Timmy's wishes go horribly wrong, and the popular kids who are dressed up as these big jack-o'-lantern costumes, they end up kind of ruining the city for a short period of time. And so it's a funny, nostalgic kids episode for Halloween. At number 22, I have The Goldbergs. Now, The Goldbergs have had multiple good Halloween episodes, but the one I decided to choose was the one where Beverly would not stop doing a couple's costume with Adam, and Adam wanted to do a couple's costume with his girlfriend, so Beverly shoved her way into this horrific third wheel kind of costume. And so Adam dismisses himself from the situation, and he takes his girlfriend to a haunted house. And Adam is horrified. But thankfully, his siblings come in, save the day. The girlfriend had lost a ring in the haunted house, and so Adam tried to go in, could not retrieve the ring. So his siblings ended up saving the day for him. At number 21, I had The Big Bang Theory. Now, this is due to very clever writing in one particular episode, because Big Bang Theory has multiple Halloween episodes, none of them being amazing. But in the beginning of one of them, Howard dresses up as Sheldon. He's mocking him throughout the day at work. Sheldon doesn't understand that this is happening to him. But then Amy gets mad that it happened to him. And so Sheldon and Amy dress up and mock Bernadette and Howard. And it just becomes a whole messy situation. At number 20, I have Victorious' Halloween episode. This doesn't have any spooky or scary moments like a normal Nickelodeon Halloween episode would, but it does involve a monster, Tori. Now, Kat needed Tori's help to make a mask for some class project, and Tori volunteered, but Kat superglued the mask to Tori's face. And so, the biggest problem was that Tori had a performance that night. Now, it just so happened that she went onto the stage with the mask on, and then by the end of it, they had gotten the adhesive that they needed to get the mask off. So it was a very fun performance for Tori. At number 19, I'm going to choose an episode that I really liked as a little kid. I am going with the Halloween episode of Cyber Chase. This is the one where they all wanted to go to the Halloween Howl, but that event couldn't happen because Hacker took over the building it was supposed to happen in. And so they need to find a way to lure the gargoyles into eating some candy. And so with simple math, they were able to make this happen. At number 18, I'm going to go with Season 2, Episode 7 of Parks and Rec. This is not the best episode of Parks and Rec ever, but for Halloween episode, I find it really funny. Anne is dressed up as Raggedy Ann, and she throws this big party for everyone. And I think it's just one of the funnier Halloween episodes that we're going to have on this list. At number 17, I have one of the first episodes of South Park. In the 7th episode of the entire series, it begins with Kenny dying. And because of this, he's taken to a morgue. But something crazy happens where while he was being embalmed, some kind of oil got into his bloodstream and he became a zombie. Now, the problem was, when he was being a zombie, nobody thought that that's what it was. They all just thought it was pink eye. So when zombie attacks were happening throughout the city, everyone, including the news, was just saying it was pink eye. At number 16, I have Ant Farm's Halloween episode. This is one of the most iconic and memorable Disney Halloween episodes there are. The reason being, it gave us the song Callin' All the Monsters, which just by itself earns a spot on this list. At number 15, I'm going with SpongeBob's Halloween episode. Now for this one, I'm going all the way back to nearly the beginning of the entire series. In this Halloween episode, SpongeBob is trying to find a costume that is scary at all, but nothing was working for the poor guy. And so he just wanted to go as a ghost, and that's what he ended up doing. But because of this, he is a sponge. He was not able to fit well in a ghost costume. So he was just putting a sheet over him. It was obvious it was him. So Patrick came up with the great idea of shaving SpongeBob's sponge off. And so the real scary part was when he finally took off the sheet. And let me tell you, for a kid, it was kind of scary. At number 14, I have the Friends only Halloween episode. Now, comparatively, this is an okay episode of Friends, but it still ranks high in terms of Halloween episodes in total. Now for this one, this is the one where Chandler dresses up as the Pink Bunny, Ross dresses up as Spudnik/Duty, and they have the arm wrestling competition, and then Phoebe meets Ursula's fiance for the first time, and she, at the end, finally gets to tell him how horrible of a person Ursula is. And for a Friends episode, it's fairly funny. Joey dresses up as Chandler. It had some good laughs in it. At number 13, I have It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia's Halloween episode. Now, in this one, the gang learns that Deandra's pregnant and that one of them is the father. Now, they have no idea what happened that night, so they are doing all they can to just piece together exactly what happened. There were a bunch of switching costumes, which made things very complicated, and guys were remembering things differently than as they actually happened. And so it was a fun kind of episode where it's just piecing everything together, which I'm a big fan of. At number 12, I have Modern Family's first Halloween episode. For this one, Claire just wants everyone to fully participate in making a great haunted house for the neighborhood. Now, everybody comes in with a bad attitude about it all, and Claire gets so upset and then leaves. But then everyone ended up pleasing her by the end of it. Now, this one in particular, I love for one specific quote. It is something that is said just so often and randomly around my house. And it is Gloria's line in the haunted house. Welcome to your nightmare, ha 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 ha. At number 11, I have Phineas and Ferb. Now, there's not a particular Halloween episode that I've ever fallen in love with for the show, but they've had a good amount of scary scenes that I needed to rank them higher. And so, for this one, I'm going to choose when they all go into the haunted house while trick-or-treating. It's just a fun blast. It perfectly encapsulates what the show is about. To start off the top 10, I'm going with The Office's Halloween episode. Now, the one I'm going to choose for this, it might not be everyone's favorite, but it is mine. I'm going to choose the very first Halloween episode where Michael is wearing Second Michael right on his shoulder. And with this, he had to fire someone by the end of the month. The end of the month is that day. So he has to choose who he has to fire. And nobody is being all that helpful with this decision because it's not their decision. And Michael ends up deciding to fire Creed. Creed comes in his office, talks his way out of it, and so Michael ends up firing Dennis. It's just a funny episode. And we are learning about Michael's mindset, and this is a perfect way of getting into it and setting up a lot of understanding Michael. At number 9, I have How I Met Your Mother. Now for this one, how could you not go with The Slutty Pumpkin, where Ted dresses up as the Hanging Chad Halloween costume because that's what he wore however many years ago when he met this girl in a pumpkin costume. And she never showed up. He was just waiting for her every single year at the same rooftop on Halloween. It's a good, fun episode, especially when Barney comes in the penguin costume and Ted thinks, oh my gosh, it's you. I finally found you. At number 8, I have the Middles Halloween episode. For this one, Brick has to go trick-or-treating with his social group, and Frankie is the one that is holding the safety leash so that they all get to go together. And in rewatching different Halloween episodes for this one, I hadn't realized just how good this episode was. Because this is also the one where Sue dresses up as a huge die and goes to a party, and she comes home saying, nobody liked it, which was a very interesting and important episode because it's getting into the mind of, okay, Sue is getting to know that she's a little dorky. And so Mike is going through this internal dialogue of, oh my gosh, she's growing up. I don't want this to keep happening. But eventually she goes to a party in a fairly nice shirt, and then she covers up with a kitty sweater. But then Brick brings Mike back to a house when they were trick-or-treating, and it turns out that there's a picture of a man who looks a lot like him on this woman's wall. And the girl's name is Cindy, which is Brick's girlfriend's name, and they had a huge library, so maybe Brick turns into a time traveler. At number 7, this is one that is a guarantee rewatch come Halloween time for me. This is Wizards of Waverly Place's Halloween episode. Now, this is the one where they all want the sub shop to be spooky and horrifying, so Alex decides to go to the wizard world and bring back some monsters. And so the best one of the bunch is the guy that goes, bookity, 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 bah! And his eyes just pop out and it makes this crazy face, and it is horrifying to a kid. And so that episode is just very Halloween-y to me, and I always love rewatching it. At number 6, I have the Halloween episode from Bob's Burgers. Now, to be completely candid, I've never seen an episode of Bob's Burgers until preparing for this list. And I watched this episode, and quite honestly, it wowed me. I mean, the kids were so fun in playing along with the fact that, oh my gosh, this is a horrible haunted house our parents have planned for us. And then it's very obvious the twist is going to happen, that it's actually them behind all of this scary stuff happening. But it's still so satisfying. It's a very, very funny episode where they all end up on the rooftop being so scared of everything that's happening around them. It's such a good episode of television. At number 5, I have Family Guy's Halloween episode. Now, for this one, I chose And Then There Were Fewer. Now, it's debatable on whether this is a Halloween episode or just a murder mystery, but I'm going to say that based off of how good it is, I'm willing to put it at 5. It would be much higher if we're just purely ranking how much I like the episodes, but it's here at 5. It is one of the best animated episodes of television of all time, and it is a murder mystery based off of my favorite book, And Then There Were None. Now, the title is based off of it, but the circumstances are definitely different. At number 4, I gotta go with Zack and Cody. Now, this Halloween episode is one of the more iconic for people my age because we all love watching the entire cast go into the spooky room around the table and then watching Esteban get taken over by the spirit of some woman. And so this is a funny, scary, right at the level you want to watch as a kid. And it is one episode of Halloween that stands the test of time. I still so enjoy watching this. At number 3, I'm not even going to pick a specific episode. I am just giving this to Scooby-Doo. Because this one always deals with a mystery, even though it's just about never on Halloween. But it's the exact vibe you're looking for from any Halloween episode out there. At number 2, again, this isn't going to go to a specific episode, but I just have to give credit to The Simpsons Treehouses of Horror. This is something that they've done ever since season 2. With how long they've been on television, it's something that has been with them the entire way. It's very impressive. Some of these are very good episodes. Some of them are kind of duds. You can tell they're reaching a little bit. But overall, with consistency and just how memorable they are, I'm giving the number 2 slot to all of The Simpsons Treehouses of Horror. But at number 1, I'm giving it to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The Halloween heist episodes are some of the best in the history of television, and some of my favorite. The ones that take place on Halloween are especially fantastic. They set it up near the very beginning, which establishes some credible relationships, and it does show how people progress throughout the series just by watching how they interact with everyone through the Halloween heist episodes, which also they do in the very last episode. It's the perfect callback for the entire series, but neither one of those is going to be my favorite Halloween heist episode. The one that is also one of my favorite episodes of television of all time, and it is the one where Jake proposes to Amy. The setup for everything in this episode is just so phenomenal. It makes me feel so satisfied watching the entirety of it, seeing that Jake outsmarted every single person because he knew he needed to. He needed to outsmart everyone so that he could make this so special. Which is why I have it number 1 out of all the Halloween episodes of all time. Well, that's my list. Is there anything that you would choose differently? I hope there is. Happy Halloween.